Hello everyone. In this, we'll understand about data collection and the different methods of data collection. It refers to the process of gathering and measuring information on specific variables of interest. Suppose if somebody is measuring the height of different persons in a particular room, then that time the variable is height. And this person is gathering that information and he may start measuring the height of each person. So that is about data collection. There are many methods of data collection that can be used depending on, there are certain factors based on which you decide what type of method I am supposed to adopt. One is the type of data being collected, the research questions being asked, and what are the resources available. If there are a lot of resource constraints, then you may adopt some methodology which is much more simpler and easier so that your resources constraints can be taken care of. Now, what are the different data collection methods? First one is survey, then interviews, then observations, then experimental studies, archival research, mixed methods approach. So again, when you come to survey, there are many types of methods available. Surveys are a popular data collection method used to gather information from a large group of people. They can be administered through paper questionnaires or online surveys. Surveys involve asking a set of questions to a group of people to collect data. Surveys can be conducted in person, via phone, online, or through mail. First, let us understand about mailed questionnaire method. Under this method, a list of questions pertaining to the survey is prepared and sent to various informants by, or you can say various respondents by post. Sometimes the researcher himself contacts the respondents and gets the responses related to various questions. Schedules sent through enumerators. Enumerators are the one who is going to collect, you can say he is the collector of information. So he will carry these schedules, which is similar to questionnaires, but the difference is like the enumerator himself will ask such questions, ask those questions, and then based on the reply, he will put tick marks or he will write in the questionnaire. So schedule is the name usually applied to a set of questions which are asked in a face-to-face situation with another person. Useful in those cases where informants are illiterate. So there is very little scope of non-response because he is there personally. He will be able to, the enumerator is there personally, so he will be able to get the answers for each and every questions. More reliable as the accuracy of statements can be checked by supplementary questions wherever necessary. Just to understand, your second question may be contrary to your 10th question. If you get the contradictory answers to them, then it is okay because it has to be. Otherwise, there is some problem with the understanding of the respondent that you can able to confirm about then and there. It is expensive because you need skilled people as enumerators. That means a lot of training needs to be given to those enumerators. There are training costs involved in that. Mall intercept methods. Nowadays, every city has got malls. So there we can do data collection. Nowadays, with so many malls, we can get the right sample. Good for product test and other things, which we cannot do it by phone or online. It is definitely faster than mail, but malls are available only in cities or some semi-urban towns. And we are focusing on those people who go to the mall, not everyone. And it is definitely slower than phone, right? I mean, usually it is slower than phone. Interviews. Interviews involve face-to-face or phone conversations, asking questions in a one-to-one setting between a researcher and a participant, or you can say interviewer and interviewee. Interviews can be structured where already a predetermined questions are there, questions are set, only those questions are going to be asked. That is structured, or unstructured, wherein depending on the answer, one more question is framed and asked. Depending on the second answer, again a question is framed and asked like that, which means that the researcher asks open-ended questions to allow for more detailed responses. That is possible provided the time constraint is not there. Means both of them, interviewer as well as interviewee, has enough time. Then this is possible to have an unstructured type of interview. Direct personal interview method. A face-to-face contact again. The interviewer asks questions to the respondents pertaining to the survey and collects the desired information. If a person wants to collect data about the working conditions of the workers of a factory, he has to go there and contact those workers and obtain the desired information. The information collected in this manner is first-hand and original in nature. So you call this as a primary data collection method because you yourself is collecting everything. Indirect oral interview method. Here, the investigator contacts the third parties, generally called witnesses, who can supply necessary information. Generally adopted when the information to be obtained is of a complex nature and the informants are not inclined to respond if approached directly. Some examples are data to be collected on drug addiction, liquor addiction, any type of police investigation. You have this indirect oral interview method. Information from correspondents. The investigator appoints local agents or correspondents who collect and transmit the information to the central office. Newspaper agencies does that. Advantage, cheap and appropriate for extensive investigation, suitable for obtaining information on regular basis. Disadvantage is there may be a personal prejudice or bias of the correspondents. Telephonic interview method. Interviewer will be there, a respondent will be there, and a telephone will be there in between, or a cell phone or mobile phone. Standardized questionnaires with close-ended questions are recommended because it has to be short and brief, recommended for this type of questioning. Short and focused, adopted for public opinion and other target group surveys. Merit, best way to get a representative sample since most of them are mobile, faster than mall-based or mail-based. Demerit, costlier than online survey. Observation method. In research, it involves systematically watching and recording behaviors, events, or situations as they normally occur without manipulating or interfering with them. Observation is used to gather data in a natural setting to understand behaviors, interactions, or phenomena. It is often used when direct questioning or experimentation is not feasible or appropriate. There are two types. One is structured observation, another one is unstructured observation. Let us go through structured. There is a company called Fisher Price Toys. What they do is generally when they bring in a new toy in the market, before going in for a full-fledged sale, what they do is they display their toy in wherever they want to sell it off, in a departmental store or in a mall or something like that. Then they put their observer and his job is to record the appeal of the toy for a child. Means he will see who are all the children entering into that particular location and he will see anybody or the children is getting attracted to the toy or not. That is his job. That is basically a structured observation. Why? Because the format, whatever he will be having, it will have a predetermined questions. He has to only put ticks in that. Unstructured observations, we may notice all these things in consumers at a bank, a restaurant or a doctor's clinic. In a doctor's clinic, we may note there will be a compounder who will look for how many patients are waiting and he keeps updating the doctor accordingly. So the doctor also can plan how long it will go. And one particular time he will advise his compounder not to allow any more patients because it will extend the time whatever he is planning to close the clinic. mechanical observation, CCTV cameras. Nowadays, everywhere it is available. All service areas, they put CCTV cameras. Universal product code, which we call it as UPC, scanned by electronic scanners in stores, which is very helpful for billing purpose and also for stock shifting. Psychogalvanometer, which measures the galvanic skin response or any changes in the electrical resistance of the skin. So what they do is the respondent whomsoever visiting the particular shop will be exposed to different kinds of packaging or advertisements to note his reaction to them using the psychogalvanometer. Eye tracking equipments like oculometer and pupillometer are available, where this oculometer determines what exactly the individual is looking at. It will capture that. Pupillometer measures the interest of the person in the stimulus. Participant observation. It is a research method where the researcher immerses themselves in the group, means he will become part of the group, whichever group they want to study, while actively participating in the activities and interactions. So he will become one among themselves as a participant. He will join that particular group, whichever group they want to do survey or investigation. They become part of the group of community under study to gain an insider's perspective and a deeper understanding of the social dynamics and behaviors within the setting. Experimental studies. It is like conducting as any scientific experiment, or you try to find out whether two drugs you are comparing, or a drug what you meant for relieving some pain relief, to give some pain relief, you want to test that particular drug. You can do an experiment for that based on some selected patients who is going to take that. Along with, they will divide it into control group and experimental group. In control group, they may not give the actual medicine. They may give some placebo. Like that, they may manipulate variables. So experimental studies involve manipulating variables and measuring the effects on the outcomes of interest under controlled conditions. Even example of Boyle's law, what we saw in our variable section topic, there, if you want to understand about what is the change in the pressure by changing the temperature, you have to keep the volume as constant. So there you are manipulating the variables to get your cause and effect results. It allows for establishing cause and effect relationship. It provides higher internal validity, means you can able to clearly relate what are the independent variables which are causing an effect on the dependent variable. That is possible, but the drawback is it may lack external validity. It is not that easy to generalize every experiment to real world settings. You may have scope defined, etc. Practical and ethical constraints may limit the feasibility of the experiments. Suppose you are doing some trials on vaccination or something like that, then you may have to explain everything as an ethical point of view. What are all the side effects which may cause, etc. That has to be openly told. So these are all some of the ethical things which you need to follow, which may limit some of the feasibility of the experimentation. Archival research, which is about existing records. You are trying to do some research, documents or articles to answer your research questions. It provides access to historical or pre-existing data. Definitely it can be cost effective and time efficient, but you are limited with available data sources only. May be subject to biases or inaccuracies in the already existing data. So that may be possible. Mixed methods approach means it is not, you are not restricted to do one particular method only when you do a research. You may have a mixed methods approach also. It may combine two or more data collection methods. For example, survey also you may do interview also to provide a comprehensive understanding of a research problem. And it offers complementary strengths of different methods. You try to choose the betterment in every method and try to adopt it. Enhances the validity and reliability of findings. But it requires careful integration and analysis of different types of data. So this is about your mixed methods approach. It may be time consuming, resource intensive, but if you correctly integrate it, then that will be a better method to follow.